One of my favorite business models is the database as a service model that provides valuable information to a niche audience. Examples I like include CyberLeads, which is a business that helps agency owners find their next clients, and also StarterStory.com, which is a business that helps people find examples of other successful businesses. Database businesses are great for people who don't know how to code, yet are still able to collect valuable information that helps a specific group of people find insights about a topic. Hey, my name's Elliot, and in this video, I'm going to build a version 1 MVP of a niche database business in public and see if the idea can get some traction. Remember that a database can start as a simple spreadsheet. So to help you think of a profitable business idea, I recommend completing this sentence. For me, that's going to be, this spreadsheet helps international teachers find the best international schools to work at for them. But ideas alone are weak, so make sure you can answer yes to the following questions before starting to populate that Google Sheet of yours. First, is this something people want? If so, prove it. When I go on to reddit.com and I check out the r/international teachers forum, I can see lots of pages about international teachers asking all about teacher salaries. Second is distribution. Will you actually be able to get into contact with your target audience? When I go and search and I look through different groups, I find different Facebook groups full of international school teachers. The same is said in LinkedIn. These are great signs that you'll be actually able to put a message out in the world that your people will find. Third, examples. Can you find examples of successful businesses selling the same type of information but to a different audience? For me, I found Levels.fyi provides the same type of career salary information in a transparent way for software developers, just like I'd like to do, but for international school teachers. Fourth is community. Are these really your people, or do you really know these people? For me, I was an international school teacher for 9 years. That's my edge, and I recommend that you pick a niche that you have an edge in too. And the fifth is an SEO bonus. Does it happen to be true that the exact keyword phrase that you're targeting, for me, international teacher salary, does that domain name just happen to be available? To check, I'm going to go to HostGator.com and I'm going to type in the URL that I want. This one says it's unavailable, but that's because I already bought it. But you should check if yours is available because it will help with your SEO rankings. And if you said yes to enough of those questions, it's time to build. So, let's get to it. Here we go. I've made a Google Sheet, how to build a niche WordPress database business. Little checklist sheet that I like to use. I'll put the link in the description, so if you want to use it, you can. So first what we want to do is we want to install WordPress and log in. I just did that. So now we are at the back end of International Teacher Salary. Brand new website. Let's see what we can do. Alright, so I'm going to kind of go down and I'm going to be just looking for the plugin section. Looks like they kind of updated the back end. So here we go. I'm going to click on plugins, and what the first thing I want to do is just delete the existing plugins that I don't need. Remember that anytime that you start a new WordPress website, they give you all of this fluff plugins that most of it you don't need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by deactivating the ones that I don't want, and then I'm going to go back over there and I'm just going to delete the unactivated plugins that I don't even want anyways. So here we go, just checking, and then I'll go down here and I will find the delete and then apply that and click OK, so that we are left with like a minimalistic version of our new website that doesn't add any extra stuff that we don't want. So there we go. Plugins deleted. Now, let's just make sure that we have the most up-to-date WordPress version. And it looks like we do. I'm kind of scrolling down, checking out this dashboard. Going to go to updates, make sure that we have that latest version, which it looks like we do. This is 6.6.2. All right, so that looks all good. I'm going to check this box, and next we need to go check out the permalinks. Back in the day, WordPress used to make that you needed to change the permalinks, but now it comes with the post name, which is what we want. So make sure that you have post name. And what we want to do is we want to install this Astra theme. This is one of my favorite themes. It just feels like the best free theme. It's like really dynamic and responsive, whether you are going to be surfing or your users are going to be using like a laptop or a desktop or a mobile device or a tablet. It like works really well. So what I recommend to do is to install and activate Astra. This is going to be like a new theme, like a new layout for our website. So next, we just want to go and install a new plugin that's going to give us some templates and just make designing in the future even easier, because it has like layouts, templates, designs that even if you're not a designer, you can look like a pro. So this is called Starter Templates. You just want to go in to add some plugins, click Activate once you've already installed it, and boom, that is added straight to our site. And next, I always build with Elementor. You don't have to, but I find it to be a really useful plugin that helps me build in a visual way. So I'm going to go to add new plugin, and I'm going to type in Elementor, and it's going to automatically pop up. And there we go. This has over 10 million active users. So just click install now. And then once that processes, we're just going to go ahead and click activate. So cool. Now we have activated Elementor. We've got our new theme. Let's check this off. Now we're going to go to Canva to make a logo. I'm going to make a super fast logo. Remember that this needs to be a certain size depending on maybe the theme that you're using. We'll just check this out. We're going to go to visit site, and our site is so basic right now. It just says hello world. Like that's it. However, once we go to customize, it'll show what the actual site looks like using Astra. As you can see, it's a little bit different. It's kind of pre-designed. I'm not actually going to use this, but it will help me design things in the future. So I'm going to be going here into the customizer where I can upload a new logo. But I don't have a new logo just yet. So what I'm going to first do is just double check the size. And here I can see that this is 180 by 60 pixels. So I'm going to open up Canva, and I'm just going to make like a really quick logo. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to find custom size, and I'm going to put in that custom size, which was, there we go, 180 by 60 pixels. So I'm just going to put 180 here, 60 there, click create, and then there we go. We have like our canvas. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and make this new logo, and it's going to be like international school salary. But now I'm kind of thinking like, maybe like a $sign. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Oh, but hold up, it's not international school salary, it's international teacher salary. So I'm just going to put like this globe next to it, and this looks totally fine for an MVP. I think it's kind of cool and really easy to understand. So what I'm going to do is just share it and then download it from Canva, so that way I can upload it to the site. So here we go. I'm just going to upload the file, select it and find it, and there we go. So international teacher salary. Now what you want to do anytime that you upload an image is always add the alt text and the title and the caption as well as the description, and then just click that select button. You can skip cropping or you can crop it if you want, but there we go. Now we have our logo on our site, which looks pretty cool. So now we're just going to be kind of surfing through, scrolling, updating any of this backend dashboard customizer section that we need to do. So looks like we've already uploaded our logo, but we should also upload our site identity, which is that little thing in the corner that you see on every tab that you open. And so what I'm going to do is just create the globe. So first and foremost, I need to change the canvas size because your favicon is what it's called, is a square. So we've got 512 by 512. And so what I'm going to do again, I'm just going to go back over to that original logo that we just made, and I'm going to grab the globe and then just kind of spread that globe out to utilize more space. And then sweet, this could be our favicon for international teacher salary. I think it looks totally fine for right now. Let's increase the quality to 100, and there we go. Let's download this image. So sweet, now we're going to go back over to WordPress. We're going to upload this image so that we'll have a favicon, kind of like a flag for our site. When people are searching through their tabs in their browser, they'll see this globe and they'll think, aha, that is international teacher salary. All right, so sweet. We're going to upload this, and then we're going to kind of check everything else out. Looks like it registered and it loaded correctly. So let's hit the publish button, which is like the save button, to make sure everything gets saved. Let's go back into our sheet to check this off. We've got Canva logos down. Next thing what we want to do is we want to update the navigation, which is this home, services, about, reviews, why us, contact. I don't really need all of these for right now because this site is just basic. It's just a beginner site. And for right now, we don't need all of these extra pages. So what I'm going to do one by one is just delete the services, delete the about, delete the reviews, and just like make it a minimalistic version of this site so that the first people who come to the site, they don't get confused, they're bogged down with anything else. I want people to understand the purpose of the site, what it is, who it's for, like instantly when they get here. So right when I create the first MVP, the minimum viable product, I like it to be as straightforward and simple as can be. So cool, we did that, we updated the navigation, and now let's go back to our dashboard. All right, so next what we want to do is we want to delete any extra pages, just like WordPress did with plugins. They just gave us things that we don't really necessarily want or need, and so they do that also with posts and pages. So what we want to do is just want to clean up the site. We want to delete the pages that we don't need, and then go into the trash and then delete them permanently. So sweet, we've got empty the trash, and before we move on to the next step, we just want to make sure we want to do the same thing with the post. So you see that this hello world was given to us as a sample, which is really cool, really nice that it's given to us, but we don't actually need it. So what we want to do is we want to delete it permanently. All right, so cool. Now we have checked that off, and what we want to do is we want to begin to formulate and style like the web page that we have envisioned for the public, for other people to use. So we're going to go, here we have our dashboard, and what we need to do is go into the home page because that's where we're going to type everything. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click this blue button that says Edit with Elementor. Like I said, Elementor is a visual page builder that allows me, someone who doesn't know how to code, to still make web pages look like a professional web developer. It's really cool. Now, although they did a lot of work in giving us these extra kind of page sections, I don't actually want it. I really want just a super simplistic view. So here I'm going to first kind of check out one of the ideas that I have. I just kind of made this little frame, wireframe of an idea. And so I'm like, okay, now I know what to do. I'm just going to add this section in. And the section goes right to the top. So I don't want to cover any of the navigation or the logo. So I'm going to start by adding a spacer. So let's just put the spacer in. It looks like that's not actually big enough. So I'm just going to increase the size to 200. Let's try that. All right. And now I'm going to add some text. I've got this H2, and I know that, H1, H2, Google kind of, it signals to Google, like whether you have an H1, H2, H3, H4, or body paragraph text. These are like what's important, like some important signaling to Google. And if I have H1, it means it's really important. Although, in my opinion, this H1, it just kind of looks too big. And so let me just check out this H2. Okay, this actually looks a little more professional and a little bit less in your face, so we're going to stick with H2. This is cool. Now, underneath that, I want this kind of subheading that explains the site in one sentence. So how can I sort of elegantly allow international teachers and like welcome international teachers to both submit salary information, but also so that they understand that they can read other people's salary information. So what I'm going to say, discover the best international schools to work at for you. That seems pretty straightforward to me. Now, it does, like, the visual of it, it looks a little too bold, and so I'm just going to kind of play around with the size and the weight. Okay, so less weight, that looks better. Now let's just see like what size we're working with. 32, it looks okay, but it still looks a little big. So let's just go with 28. All right, so we've got 28 pixels for that subheading. We have just written our H1 and now our H2, but actually it was just an H2 and then body paragraph. But hey, who's counting? Now what we want to do, or what I'm thinking in my head, is like a really straightforward approach to kind of facilitating a space where international teachers who have experience in the field, they can submit their salary information from either their current or their past jobs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a button that reads, submit your salary. And what I've already done before making this video is I created a form using Airtable, and I just created the form where it has like, you know, which country and which school you worked at and how much did you get paid and what are the benefits and all of that stuff that you would want to know if you were going to go to a totally different place in the world and take an offer that an international school has given to you. So you're like, I want to know everything before I just go start applying to different jobs, and definitely before you take a job. So I'm just going to make this blue. I think blue is like blue or red. These are like both really good, common, and like effective button colors. So submit your salary. Looks good. This kind of like, let's make it a little bit darker. Okay, good, good. Yeah, this all looks fine. And voila, I think we're good to go. All right, so we've got submit your salary. I put the link in there. One thing that I personally love when buttons have is when they have like a scale factor of 1.1. And oops, I actually meant to do this in the hover. So I only want it to happen when a mouse hovers over the button, but you'll see it grows. It has this like grow effect when you add a scale of 1.1 to the hover section of the button. So I think that looks super cool. And now what we want to do is just kind of go back over to my resource doc that I made to kind of help guide me through this whole little project, just to streamline and make things like faster and better at the same time. All right, so now again, I've already created the base in Airtable, and I personally just listed my own 2 experiences to kind of get people a feel like, oh, someone has already added a couple of experiences. And then after I make this video, I'll like go to some of my ex-colleagues that I'm still in contact with, excuse me, and I'll say like, hey, I think this would be a really great resource if we all just contributed to this spreadsheet, and I'll send them a link. And so, you know, I feel like if I already put my information in, it will kind of encourage or motivate other people to do the same. Now, anytime you make a website, I think it's a really good idea to add an email opt-in. I'm using kit.com. This is the old ConvertKit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this email opt-in or like email capture right below, where I think it's kind of cool. If someone signs up to the email, then every week I can share some of the submissions that people said. So if someone was like, hey, I worked in Singapore at this school and I made this much, and hey, I worked in Paris at this school and I made that much, and here are the benefits, I can email that sort of like those news updates to anyone who's on the email list. So it seems to me like if you're going to be interested in international teacher salaries, this email newsletter would be like a really great benefit for a teacher who wants this information. So A, I'm going to be collecting the email addresses, that's good for me, and B, the information that I'm going to be sharing in the email newsletter is going to be good for them. So every time that you do business, the best businesses are win-win situations. So I feel like this is what I'm trying to create. And yeah, so I'm using Kit, and so I just want to make sure that everything looks good. It actually looks like this is left align. And what I want to do is I want to make it center align. And I don't know really why it's just left align. So what I'm kind of like checking everything out. Looks good, it reads good, but it's still left align. And I'm kind of like, seriously? Why is this not just centered? All right, so here's the form, just in case you were interested. It has like the name of the school, the annual salary, and all that good stuff. And so remember, I used airtable.com in order to create the form and the spreadsheet that is embedded on the website. Now, you don't have to use Airtable. You could also use, for example, Google Sheets. And then for the form, you could use Google Forms. And both of those are totally fine. I just personally think that Airtable looks better. And so I think this is just like, aesthetically more pleasing. Although I personally use Google Sheets all the time, as you saw in the Google Doc and the Google Sheet of the checklist that's helping me write this kind of like make this website. So what I'm doing right now is I am kind of messing and dilly-dallying with the Kit HTML, because once I get something in my head, I feel like I have to accomplish it before I do anything else. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, where is the darn center part of this HTML code that I can change in order to make it actually centered. So I changed that part from left to center, and it didn't do anything. So I'm going to kind of keep working with it. Remember that anytime that you're building sites or apps or anything technical, just play around and like see what happens. So instead of putting it inside the body, this kind of center tag, I'm going to put it right at the top, and then, oh, whoa, check that out. It worked. And then so I'm just going to put the closer tag right down there, but it turned red. So I don't even know if that's the wrong place, but hey, it looks like I put the first center tag in the correct place. This form is now centered. Mission accomplished. All right, so this looks cool. I'm going to publish the site. I'm going to make it live so that we can like see and like, look, this is like what it actually looks like. Just in a few minutes, we have this email opt-in, we have a forum, and we've embedded a database that allows people to see super useful information. Now, what I like about this idea in general is like of benchmark salaries is like, you could seriously do this for any single profession. Doctors, lawyers, police officers, pharmacists, travel nurses, like, any single profession. Like if you're like an orthopedic, you could just do it for like only orthopedic surgeons, or like only insurance of like a certain type. And like everyone wants to know like what their peers are making. So I think this is just like a super cool idea. I'm going to do it for international teachers because I've never worked in anything else except for education. But if you have a different career in a different like, ballpark or industry, you could do it for that. And if you do, let me know. I would love to like see what you make. All right, so here we have, it looks like we did okay, so I checked out the footer and it like looks totally fine. You can see it right there. It just says built by Astra. I don't need to say that it's built by Elliot or me or like some institution or anything right now. I'm just going to like keep it super, super simple. And so as I'm kind of like checking out the sheet, I'm like looking at the back end of all of this, and honestly, it looks pretty solid. So let's just like see. We've got the logo, International Teacher Salary. I think that's kind of funny that I used a $sign. I wonder if my colleagues would think that that's cheesy. They might, but hey, if they put the information in, that's like what we want. So, all right, so now let's scope this out. Oh yeah, it looks like the navigation at the top is this kind of like white color, but no one can see it if it's white. So what we want to do is we want to change that contact that you see at the top right, that text, to a black. But then anytime you hover over it, or if it's active, it turns to the same blue as that button, which is submit your salary. So this will kind of like equalize and like in a very minimalistic way, like design the site. So like we have a little color palette going on, folks. We've got white and black and this blue. And that is totally good enough for me right now. So this looks really cool. Logo, contact, and it's actually like it's working. Alright, and here's our pre-installed contact page that came from WP Forms plugin, which we just kept from the very beginning. Alright, so now we have our page, we have the opportunity for someone to submit information, to read information, and then if they want to, sign up to the newsletter. Thanks so much for watching. Check back on the site. I'm going to be emailing, like cold outreaching to both like ex-colleagues and other people in the industry. Let's see if this actually gets legs, some traction, and people start submitting to the International Teacher Salary site. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. If you've got any questions or anything else, get at me. All right, thanks for watching. See ya.